destruction, absolute, unmitigated chaos. There is no other way to describe the scene we just witnessed. If you thought you knew what violence looked like, if you thought you understood the depths of hatred two men could share, erase it from your memory. Because what happened tonight between the American Nightmare and the Samoan Werewolf wasn't a match, it was a crime scene. The bell never even rang. The rules never applied. This wasn't about pins or submissions, this was about survival. This was an attempt to end a career before it could even make it to the Royal Rumble. Just look at the carnage. Bodies everywhere, security decimated, and a shocking ending that has turned the entire WWE landscape upside down. You are not going to believe who walked out standing tall amidst the wreckage. Tonight, on Saturday night's main event, we were promised a wrestling match. Instead, we got a war that spilled into the crowd, shattered equipment, and brought a third party into the mix that no one saw coming. This is the kind of night that changes everything. This is SLAMZONE, and if you have a heartbeat, you need to be watching this right now. But before we dive into the ashes of this battlefield, I need you to do something for me. If you love this business, if you live for these moments where your heart races and you can't look away, join our family. We are building the most passionate community of wrestling fans on the planet. Click that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and leave a comment below telling me, did they go too far tonight? Because honestly, I think they might have. Your support means the world to us. It keeps the lights on and the passion burning. Now, brace yourselves. Let's talk about the war. The air in the arena was thick enough to choke on. You could feel it through the screen, that heavy, electric tension that only happens when two men who genuinely despise each other are about to collide. We had the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, the polished, corporate face of the company, the man who carries the weight of a legacy on his perfectly tailored shoulders. And standing across the void, waiting in the shadows, was Fatu, the Samoan Werewolf. A man who doesn't care about suits or legacies or boardrooms. He views Cody as a corporate stiff, a manufactured hero. Cody sees Fatu as a chaotic thug, a prison yard brawler who doesn't belong in his ring. They told us this was going to be a match. They lied. Cody didn't even get his jacket off. The music was still echoing, the lights were still flashing, and the crowd was just beginning to swell with that woe chant we all know so well. But Fatu didn't wait for the pageantry. He didn't wait for the pyro. He launched himself like a missile, a blur of violence that smashed into Rhodes before he could even get his arms out of his coat. It was sickeningly fast. 1 second, Cody is soaking in the adoration, the next, he's being mauled. And I mean mauled. Fatu wasn't wrestling, he was trying to tear Cody apart. The official, Charles Robinson, a veteran, a man who has seen it all, tries to step in, tries to restore some semblance of order. He gets shoved. He gets knocked down. And that's when you knew. That's when the realization hit every single person in that arena. The bell isn't going to ring. This isn't a contest. It's a slaughter. Cody is trapped in his own gear, essentially handcuffed by his entrance jacket, and Fatu is raining down blows. It's a nightmare scenario. You can see the panic in the referee's eyes as he scrambles on the canvas. He's waving for help, screaming for the bell, but there's nothing to ring because the match never started. Fatu drops an elbow on the official, an elbow. That alone would be a suspension, a disqualification, a lawsuit in any other era. But tonight? Tonight, Fatu didn't care about the consequences. He only cared about the damage. The producers, the suits, the guys in the back with the headsets, they all come sprinting down the ramp. They know they've lost control. They know this is spiraling into something dangerous. But what are they going to do against a force of nature? Cody Rhodes, to his credit, is fighting for his life. He finally rips the jacket off, his eyes wild, adrenaline surging through his veins. He's not looking for a hold, he's looking for a target. He runs at Fatu and bam. He runs straight into a right hand that sounded like a gunshot. You could hear the impact over the roar of thousands. It was the kind of punch that breaks jaws. Cody crumbles, but he doesn't stay down. He bounces off the equipment cases, his body reacting on pure instinct. The crowd is losing their minds. They are screaming, some in excitement, some in genuine fear, because the barrier between the show and reality is dissolving right in front of them. And then, they go into the crowd. This is where it went from a fight to a riot. Fatu and Rhodes, tumbling over the barricade, spilling into the sea of fans. The security guards are swarming like ants, trying to pull them apart, but it's useless. It's like trying to stop a tidal wave with a bucket. Cody is desperate, fighting for survival against a man who seems to feel no pain. Fatu is grabbing anything he can, eyes, hair, clothes gouging and clawing. It's primal. Commentators are screaming, think about the Rumble. Think about the Rumble. And that's the tragedy of it, isn't it? The Royal Rumble is right around the corner. Every bump, every bruise, every broken bone tonight jeopardizes their spot on the road to WrestleMania. But in that moment, blinded by rage, neither man cared about WrestleMania. They only cared about hurting the man in front of them. It's absolute bedlam. They are throwing haymakers at everyone. Security guards are getting dropped left and right. At one point, and this was the moment that made me jump out of my seat, they briefly, for a split second, worked as a team. Not because they wanted to, but because the swarm of security was in their way. They started knocking out officials just to clear a path so they could get back to killing each other. That is a level of hatred that transcends professional wrestling. That is personal. We are watching human beings being tossed aside like ragdolls. The camera work is shaky, frantic, trying to keep up with the brawl that is moving through the arena floor. The noise is deafening. You can't hear the announcers anymore, you can only hear the roar of the mob. It feels like the Roman Colosseum. It feels like bloodlust. And just when you think security might finally get a handle on it, just when you think they might be able to separate these two warring factions, I have to pause here for a second because my heart is still racing just thinking about it. If you are enjoying this breakdown, if you are feeling the intensity of this war, please, take a second to hit that like button. It helps us so much, and it lets me know you want more of this raw, unfiltered coverage. Subscribe to SLAMZONE and join the family. We don't just watch wrestling, we feel it. Okay, back to the madness. They are separated, breathing heavy, chests heaving, surrounded by the fallen bodies of security guards. The crowd is chanting, waiting for the next explosion. The energy is at a fever pitch. You expect them to charge again. You expect the final clash. But then, the unexpected happens. Out of nowhere. No music. No warning. Just a massive blur of motion entering the frame. It's Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion. The Scottish Warrior. What is he doing here? Before anyone can process it, McIntyre is in the mix. He grabs Jacob Fatu, the man who has been terrorizing the roster, the man who seemed unstoppable, and he launches him. He throws the Samoan werewolf through a table. Wood splinters, bodies fly, and the sound of the crash echoes through the arena. Fatu is down. The monster has been grounded. The crowd erupts. Is McIntyre here to save Cody? Is he here to restore order? For a brief, fleeting second, Cody Rhodes looks at Drew McIntyre with a look of confusion, maybe even gratitude. He thinks the cavalry has arrived. He thinks the playing field has been leveled. He was wrong. Drew McIntyre turns to the American Nightmare. There is no handshake. There is no nod of respect. There is only a boot. Low blow. A sickening low blow to Cody Rhodes. The air leaves the building. The cheers turn to a confused, horrified murmur. Cody collapses, clutching his midsection, the pain etched on his face. He survived the assault from Fatu only to be betrayed by the champion. McIntyre stands over them. He looks at the wreckage of Fatu in the table. He looks at the writhing body of Cody Rhodes on the floor. And he smiles. It's a cold, calculated smile. This wasn't about saving anyone. This wasn't about law and order. This was a statement. Drew McIntyre, the WWE Champion, looked at his two biggest threats, the chaotic force of nature in Fatu and the relentless hero in Rhodes, and he decided to take them both out while they were weak. He waited until they had destroyed each other, until they had nothing left to give, and then he picked the bones. It is brilliant. It is despicable. And it is exactly why Drew McIntyre is the champion. He took out two birds with one stone. He sent a message to the entire locker room right before the Royal Rumble. I don't care if you are a nightmare or a werewolf. I am the Dragon Slayer, and I am the king of this jungle. The show ends not with a match result, not with a winner, but with the image of Drew McIntyre standing tall amidst the bodies of his enemies. The officials are too scared to approach him. The crowd is in shock. The road to WrestleMania just took a sharp, violent turn off a cliff. What does this mean for the Rumble? Is Cody injured? Can Fatu recover from that table spot? And who on earth is going to stop Drew McIntyre? This was more than a highlight, this was a warning shot. Saturday night's main event will go down in history, not for the match that happened, but for the war that didn't finish. Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing a golden era of aggression. We are watching legends being made in real time, forged in the fires of animosity. I cannot wait to see what happens next. If you are as hyped as I am, make sure you smash the like button right now. Don't forget to subscribe to SLAMZONE for more intense wrestling breakdowns every single week. We are here for the long haul, and we want you with us. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a moment of the action. Until next time, keep your head on a swivel, because in this business, you never know when the next table is going to break. Catch you in the next one.